If you're in IT, you know the feeling, right? You're juggling hundreds, maybe thousands of computers, and it feels like every single one is a ticking time bomb. You're just stuck reacting, always putting out fires. But what if there was a way to actually climb out of that hole for good? Well, today, we're going to break down how to stop the firefighting and start building an IT infrastructure that actually works.
This quote, man, this just nails it, doesn't it? It's the ultimate catch-22. The big problem is that you don't have a stable system, but you're so busy dealing with the chaos from that unstable system that you never have time to actually fix it. You're buried in tickets and urgent requests, so you can't touch the strategic stuff that would prevent those tickets in the first place. It's not just stressful, it's a soul-crushing trap. But it doesn't have to be this way. I promise, there is a way out. And it's not about working longer hours or pushing your team to its breaking point. It's about working smarter. It's about fundamentally changing how you even think about the problem. All right, let's get into it. First up, climbing out of the hole. And really, before you can climb out, you gotta know just how deep you are, right? So let's talk about the specific pains of trying to manage an unmanaged fleet. I bet some of these look painfully familiar. Inconsistent installs, constant firefighting. A case study from Bell Labs way back in the 90s found that sysadmins spent a quarter of their entire work week just fixing mistakes from the initial setup. A quarter. And think about this one. A new employee can't do their job for a week. That's not just an IT problem, that's a huge waste of money and, honestly, a terrible first impression for that new hire. Okay, next section. From pets to cattle. This is where we get to the core idea, the big mental shift you have to make. We need to stop treating our computers like they're special, handcrafted pets and start managing them like a herd of cattle. Sounds a little weird, I know, but stick with me. This analogy is a total game changer. This is one of my favorite analogies in all of tech because it just makes so much sense. The old pet model, that's where every server has a special name, you configure it all by hand, and if it gets sick, you stay up all night nursing it back to health. The cattle model is the complete opposite. The machines are identical. They're managed as a group, and if one gets sick, you don't waste time trying to fix it. You just replace it. The health of the herd is what matters. You see? You stop caring about any one machine and start focusing only on the overall service. That shift changes everything. So there's actually a fancy word for this whole cattle idea, fungibility. It just means that individual units are interchangeable. You know, like $1 bill is the same as any other dollar bill. When your workstations are fungible, a new hire's laptop isn't some week-long special project. Nope, it's just another identical unit from the herd, ready to go in minutes. That is the key to scale. So how do we actually get there? That brings us to our next section, the power of small batches. Look, the answer is not to lock yourself away for a year building some perfect, all-encompassing automation system. No way. The secret is to think small. Here's what you do. Pick one tiny, annoying task. Maybe it's just installing a web browser. Whatever it is, you automate just that one thing. Boom. That's version 1.0. You release it and let your team benefit from it right away. Then next week, you release version 1.1 that handles one more little thing. You just keep repeating that cycle. You're not trying to boil the ocean. You're just building momentum, one small win at a time. And why does this work so well? Because you're delivering actual value now, not in some distant future. When a bug pops up, it's way easier to find because you only changed one small thing. And maybe the best part of all, it gets rid of those huge, terrifying project deadlines. Instead, you just have a constant, steady flow of improvements. It's just a healthier, more sane way to work. Okay, on to section 4, building the managed service. Let's fast forward a bit. You've embraced the cattle mindset, you're working in small batches. So what's the end game here? Well, you're not just putting out fires anymore. You're building a formal, professional service for your entire organization. And this is what that service looks like in the real world. You've got standardized hardware on a predictable schedule. You've got fully automated software installation. Patches and updates, they just happen in the background, like magic. And it's all wrapped up with professional support and centralized data. It's the whole shebang. And here's the really beautiful part. Your goal is to make your infrastructure, well, boring. And I mean that as the highest compliment. Boring is predictable. Boring is reliable. Boring means it doesn't break in new and exciting ways at 3 in the morning. You want IT to be like the power company. You flip a switch, the light comes on. You don't even think about it. That's the goal. All right, our last section, the true payoff. Let's bring this all home. Why does any of this really matter? After all this work, what's the real tangible benefit? The payoff is huge, and it's for everybody. For the IT team, you get your time back. You get to stop being firefighters and start being engineers again. For your customers, they get machines that just work. Day one, no friction. And for the business, productivity skyrockets, and people start to see IT as a partner that makes things happen, not a roadblock. The bottom line is, you're finally out of the hole. So I'll leave you with this one question to think about. What is the biggest pet in your organization? You know the one I'm talking about, that fragile, hand-built server that everyone is terrified to even touch. Find it, because that's your starting point. Figuring out how to turn that one pet into simple, replaceable cattle, that's your first step on the path out of the hole.